Hello everyone, I'm Dragons After Dark, and today we're going to talk about Arfus. Of course, this isn't my usual pet talk as we won't be going over his moves and stats. The long story short is I made a couple of tweets about Arfus's drop rate. Mostly people agreed, some didn't, and that's their prerogative. That said, I'd like to set the stage for what led me to make those tweets. This isn't trying to change anyone's mind, just some context for those interested. Back in September, I believe, Arfus was data mined with two models, one for Classic and one for Retail. Classic's model had an achievement listed as a source, one that would, and probably does, involve a lot of work. However, Arfus's Retail version was not originally data mined with a source. This led many to, in my opinion rightly, speculate that Retail players would have to get the achievement in Classic to own the pet in Retail. This isn't beyond Blizzard to do something like this. It's one of the ways we've seen them drive engagement, like with the mount you could get in Retail for playing a DK in Wrath Classic. This led a lot of pet collectors to worry they'd have to spend a substantial amount of time in Wrath Classic to get the pet. For those that don't know, pet collecting involves getting into nearly every aspect of the game, from mythic raids and getting honor rank 400 to collecting 400 toys or 10,000 pet charms. With that in mind, it's not out of the ballpark to assume Blizzard might set it up this way. In turn, a couple of tweets were made by Blizzard employees, Josh Greenfield and Morgan K, that subtweeted Narissa from Wowhead. You won't have to play Classic to get this in Retail. Excellent, this is great news. That's very wild speculation on Wowhead's part. Given some of the grinds pet collectors are put through, I don't think this was wild speculation at all. The only thing that might have indicated the speculation was false is the fact that if Arfus on Retail was connected to Arfus in Classic, it probably would have been put into a build with that as its source in the first place. Them trying to keep sources for battle pets under wraps is another can of worms, where sometimes we don't get the sources in-game even when it's shipped to live and they have to be hotfixed in later, but I digress. The version being made available in Classic is for Classic, the version in Retail is for Retail, and will have some other acquisition. The low-key hostility toward Wowhead aside, this was taken as a good sign by collectors, which was further supported by Morgan K's tweet. Retail players, please put down the swords. This doggy was our team's way of thanking you all for playing Classic. We come in peace. Please love Arfus as much as we love him. So far, so good. Roughly a couple days later, it was finally revealed that Arfus would be dropping from the Headless Horseman event. Now, Blizzard never releases drop rate information. However, given the feedback they've acknowledged about holiday drop rates, like the Heartbreaker mount here in this post, we've heard your feedback on the frustration with the X45 Heartbreaker's low drop rate and feeling the pressure of having to farm the mount by cycling through as many alts as possible every day. From now on, the first heart-shaped box you receive each day across your Battle.net account will have a greatly increased chance to contain the X45 Heartbreaker mount. That this Hallow's End was part of a holiday revamp that would give better chances through the first drop of the day and through the curses. The Headless Horseman encounter comes with new challenges, new abilities, new achievements, and a special hard mode that includes Wicker curses to slightly improve your odds of receiving some sought-after rewards. And that this was all meant to be some kind of thank you, as indicated in the tweet. We certainly did not think they would add Arfus to the loot table with a 1% drop rate. Add to this that once I started digging into it, the Wowhead article that the Blizzard article links to states the first drop on the account for the day and the Wicker curses were only for the mount, so we weren't even getting an increased chance for Arfus at all. Now, my opinion on RNG is that it's not a great game system in general. From gear to pets, it's nothing more than something to get you to log in to make engagement metrics look good. They aren't trying to make things special, they just want you in the game. Do I think all RNG is bad? No. I'm not calling for increased drop rates on everything across the board. A lot of people are comparing Arfus to Invincible, which I also farmed for, but this really isn't an equivalent example. ICC is available all the time. I could go in there and farm on as many characters as I wanted and had the time for at any point in the year. And I did, without complaining about how many runs it took me to get. Shocking, I know. Add to that, there is literally no prestige for winning a roll versus a loot table. You could get a mount that has a 1% drop rate on your first run or your 1000th. There's no rhyme, reason, or specialness to it. Rarity, in terms of RNG, is nothing more than winning at a slot machine. If it was truly about something rare being special, they would have removed it from the loot table when Cataclysm released, like they've done with some other mounts. Which brings me to another point. Battle pets have a purpose in the game beyond looking pretty. As much as some people might dislike it, they are part of an in-game battling system. This includes fights you have to complete based on the pets' families for achievements. That being said, Blizzard is also not above making fights that can be impossible to complete without very specific pets. As an example, when I was doing testing on the beta for Dragonflight, there was one team that worked against Swag for the humanoid battle, and still had RNG. Out of all the dedicated strategy creators who were testing these fights, one team worked. The only reason this variation of Swag didn't get pushed to live was a combination of beta feedback from the testers and my targeted feedback on the content creator Discord. There are still fights in-game that, even expansions beyond and with new pets, need very specific ones for them to work. It was one of these fights that led me to find Xufu's pet guides. So to say I'm mad that I simply didn't get a pretty pet I'll never summon just to tick my collection count up 1 is inaccurate. Imagine if the Headless Horseman or Heartbreaker mount were required for a Race to World First Raider to defeat a boss. That would go over just about as well as Arfus's drop rate did for the collecting community. Plus, holidays are meant to be casual content, which in turn would mean casual rewards and drop rates, in my opinion. Given everything I know about how Blizzard operates in terms of pet battles, the chances they'll add family fights to battles where the only stable strategy is to use Arfus is likely. He's a powerful good boy with a stun, speed increase, shattered defenses ability, static damage non-cooldown attack, and an AoE. He's gonna pack a powerful punch. Overall, it's been made obvious to the pet community that Blizzard has little consideration for our content. It was the reason I left the content creator Discord. While I did get some responses while I was there, like with Swag, and specifically Durian, I do think me being in the content creator Discord helped push that fix through. There was a lot of feedback that went unacknowledged in any way, shape, or form. It's disheartening to watch people around you receive responses knowing your comment has been read and ignored simply because the part of the game you enjoy most just isn't important enough for anyone's time. Which is why I also didn't announce my departure from the content creator Discord back in February or January. 1, I'm just one among many creators, so they have no real reason to care that I left, and 2, they were probably just happy that the noisy pet battle person was finally no longer posting. That said, it is 100% Blizzard's right to put as little or as much attention towards sections of their game as they see fit. However, the proof is in the pudding. Many issues should and need to be addressed, but they never are. They want to use engagement metrics to say that's why they don't do anything with pet battles, when in reality, more people would engage with certain aspects of the system if they'd put some effort toward it. Pet Battle PvP is the most glaring example of this. It could be fun, but they choose to leave it awful, which brings on the cycle of system is bad, so players won't engage, and they think no engagement means we put no time into it. This pretty much sums up their attitude toward pet battles in general, and after years of this, Arfus was simply it for me. He was the doggy that broke the camel's back. If you've made it to the end here, all of this was what led me to making those tweets. As I said, this wasn't to convince anyone who's already decided how they feel about it. This was just some context for those who were interested. This has all boiled down to me canceling my subscription. I've played since 2005, though I like to joke that I played during vanilla, but I'm not a vanilla player. My subscription has been mostly on since then, with some periods of inactivity due to finances or Pathfinder requirements. This is also the only game I've played for more than a few hours in that entire time span. The truth is, I'm not terribly good at video games, but I could muddle through in WoW by the sheer force of the number of years I've played and Paladin bubbles. I really love this game, but enough is too much, so it's time to leave. For those in the pet community, my sub runs out in April, and I'll be around until then. This is mostly going to be spent getting strategies verified and pet information updated on Zufus, and I'll be doing the daily reports and pet news until then. What I won't be doing is making any more pet videos for my YouTube. This is my last one. I also won't be posting anything but the daily reports and news on Discord, the forums, and my Twitter. If you need me, I'll still be in all my usual Discords, so feel free to ping me or DM me. Before I go, I just want to say thank you to everyone in the pet community who has made these last few years of WoW enjoyable for me, and for all the effort you've put in. The Zufu articles wouldn't even be a quarter as good as they are if it wasn't for everyone helping and sending information my way, and the sheer amount that I learned from watching other strategy creators is beyond reckoning. I hope you all understand just how much I appreciate you all. With people like you, the community really is the best in the game. Once this goes live, I won't be checking my YouTube anymore, so you should definitely head over and subscribe to WonderWez's channel, which I'll link in my description. She's funny, her videos are wonderfully crafted, and she's sure to keep you up to date on all your future pet battle releases. So, for the last time, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day or night. Thank you for stopping by, and happy battling.